Isn't that intro awesome? I mean, I enjoy it so much watching it every single time. I have seen it like 200 times already, but I still can't get enough of it. Just, I think it's the logo of Starcraft 2. It kind of touches a tune in my heart. It makes me feel more warm and cozy inside and think about all the stressful moments I had while playing ladder and my ways of dealing with anxiety, which I won't be discussing in public right now. But anyway, Starcraft 2 is a rough game, man. And if you many players are just disencouraged by the fact that they get mad after a couple of games. That's perfectly normal, guys. I used to get like crazy mad when playing StarCraft 2. At one day, I think I even was on my vacation back then. Yes, it was on my vacation, so I had some off time from work, and I thought, okay, what's the worst thing that can happen during my vacation time? Let's play StarCraft, you know. How to spoil my vacation? Let's play StarCraft. That sounds more or less like spoiling your vacation and being too stressed where you should have been relaxing instead. And then you go back and boss asks you, "How's your vacation?" You'll say, "Yeah, it was fine," by being polite. But what you will have in mind is exactly what I had in mind, which was the scenes of rage that happened in my house. At one point, I was even kicking a pillow around the room. Can you imagine? How mad do you need to get to start kicking a pillow around? That's a lot of mad. I still haven't thrown my mouse or keyboard around the walls. I already made an attempt to, but then I reminded myself that it has been a gift from my wife, so I kind of feel stupid about it. And I went and kicked the pillow's ass instead. So anyway, that's about dealing with anxiety and playing StarCraft 2. Now back to what you should do in order to improve, because that's the most important aspect of all. Let me load the replay, and we'll start with this tutorial. So this is something you guys have requested, a more advanced tutorial on StarCraft 2, because you were saying, these ones that you have been uploading are rubbish, we know all of that, show us something more interesting. So here we go, guys. Pretty interesting if you ask me, and Curse play is nearly flawless in this aspect. So let's jump into the game. Let me give you a short overview of what happens in this game. So basically what Kerr goes for is, not surprisingly, since I told you that just before we went live with the show, a free base play using Immortals and Sentries, which right now is probably the only, well, I don't want to say only, because then right away, 1 second after I say it's the only, someone on the chat will pop up with a link to Team Liquid thread or a Reddit thread, and they will say, "No, it's not the only one, you have been wrong. You know, you're a shitty caster." So I would like to say it's probably the only legitimate way to take a very fast expansion, third expansion against the Zerg. So we'll be taking a look on how this plays out from a Protoss perspective and what you need to do. So as we can see, we already have 2 gases in the main. Then we take a very quick robo around the 5:20 minute mark. That's where the tech choice kinda has to happen. Even more gases. Of course the Zerg will see it. Now this fancy overlord here will be thinking, what are these gases for? So you need a way to check that. And this replay, in fact, is a great way of showing how to check it, because the Zerg does an exemplary job, and the Zerg is Tefel. He does an exemplary job of scouting the Protoss to confirm his suspicions about the build order. Now, this overlord here doesn't see, and this is one flaw, the single flaw I have managed to find in Tefel's play, that he doesn't see the rocks. And, you know, if you place your overlord, you can place it a little bit more to the left and a little bit more to the top to see the rocks. And these, the sentries that try to take out the rocks, is a huge indicator that the Protoss is going for a third base. And then you see an Immortal pop and you're nearly certain. Now, some of you may say, okay, what if he's faking? Well, if he's faking, then you need to do a little bit more scouting later on. And basically, you know, at the point in time where the Sentry Immortal all-in would hit you, you should have a pretty good map awareness, and you should know where to cover your backside. Now, of course, Kerr will go now, and he does a mistake with taking his Immortal with his army, well, the army consisting of 4 sentries, while taking the Nexus. Now, you want to deny as much scouting information as you possibly can to your opponent, and Tefl right now playing smart and trying to drop a little bit of creep, but not too much. And notice what he does immediately after that. The expansion goes down here, so Tefl has to confirm the timing, and he goes in with a Zergling. Now, at this point in time, he does a second thing, a beautiful thing, if you ask me. So if we move back, let's say 20 seconds. If we move back 20 seconds, what he does... Where are you? Yeah, here you are. So he's morphing an Overseer because he doesn't want to lose his Overload. That's okay. And he will go into the Protoss's base. And let's see what the Zerg notices. What the Zerg notices is that, okay, there's a pylon. And already, let's stop right now. Already, you see this huge space here. There's nothing, not a single building here. And at this point, you are fairly certain that, you know, you have seen the gases. You don't see too many buildings. The Protoss has to be going for a third base, because otherwise, there is no way on earth he would be able to hide 8 gateways in his base, or 7 gateways. There's just not enough space. So if you rule out the possibility that he has a lot of gateways, and Tefl is doing that exactly right now, then you're quite safe. You think, okay, he's going for an expansion. Now, reaction to that would be to take your 4th, because well, probably not too much aggression will happen. You know, the gateways are just in the number of 3 right now, not a very impressive number again, and you know, the additional gateways will be built at the 3rd base to supply the existing ones. So that's more or less how it plays out from a scouting perspective when you take a look at it from the Zerg perspective. And you know, many people have the trouble of telling, is this the all-powerful Sentry Immortal all-in that will hit me, or is this in fact a 3rd base build? And this is what Tefl has done right now, is exactly what you should do as well. You need to check your opponent frequently around this 6-7 minute mark. You need to put down a changeling here to run around the base and check how many gateways there are. You need to have the gateway count. If there are only 2 or 3, that's okay. If there are only, if you see more, 5 or 6, that's a multi-gate. You are probably going to be attacked. He may just be pretending to take this 3rd base. And also just seeing the 3rd base with your own bare eyes while scouting with a Zergling is also a beautiful thing you can do to help yourself. Now, the question is, okay, but you say scout frequently, but how can I tell early in the game that this is happening? And Kerr, in fact, has spilled the beans for us, and I have asked him exactly that question. I knew you guys are going to ask that question anyway. So what Kerr says is, one of the big tells that a Protoss is going for a 3rd base is he has 4 gases. You may scout or may not scout a robo, but also he doesn't go for the fast +1 upgrade. And most people don't think about it, but you know, if he was going for a timing push, then +1 is a must. You need to have that +1 upgrade if you're going for a Sentry Immortal all-in. So if you don't see the Forge working, and you can scout that with just a Zergling or 2 Zerglings to make sure that you don't get killed off by the cannon, or just fly off an Overload. Anyway, it's very easy to scout, and by doing that, you can tell that the Protoss is going to expand. That's it. That's how you deal with the expanding, that's how you tell that the Protoss is expanding, and that very early tell can let you know what the hell will be happening for the next 5 to 7 minutes, and you will be very confident taking your 4th base. which is awesome, which is exactly what you're looking for. Now let's get back to the game itself. So we can see that the Zerg is taking the fourth, which is a good reaction. Now he's playing his usual, which in Tefl's case is some roaches, upgrades, and straight into infestors. He usually tries to go quick corruptors, especially when he saw a robotic facility with the Protoss. We won't go into how this game has ended. It's not very relevant. How this game plays out later on is a matter for a different episode. Right now, we want to step back a little and check what the timings are for the Protoss himself, because we want to know how to execute this ourselves. And in order to do that, we need to know what are the checkpoints of our build. So let me show you my good friend, the notepad. Here you are. Long time no see, mate. So the question is, what is the robo timing? So where does the robo finishes? What are the gas timings? How many gases do I need at which point? When to take the third expansion? Should I take it after I have some army or perhaps later on? And how to scout? And also how to protect your third. These are the questions that I imagine people are asking themselves when thinking about a build, because seeing a build order isn't anything. You need to know how the build plays out, and I think this tutorial will help you to get better at playing out this specific build. So let's fast forward this. We can see a very standard, forge, nexus, pylon, gateway before the cannon. Kerr knows that there is only an expansion on the other side, so he's cool with that. And right now, let's speed things up. So the first timing we need to note is, where do I take my freaking forge? Okay, alongside with the gases. So as you can see, we have the gases in the main pretty straight away. We have the natural setup, but we still need more minerals to have enough, enough of them for the expansion and enough of them for our robotic facility. And also, of course, cybernetics core needs to finish first. So cybernetics core is finishing, and right after that, at 5.20, you're placing down your, and let's note that, placed on 520. At 520 you place your robo facility. It's your first building after your first unit building after having the gateway, and that's it. And you take additional gases later on. So after the robo you take 1, you take 2. So gases, 4 gases after robo, which is very important. Because if you take them before the robo and you send out workers to gather from the gases, you will have your robotic facility delayed because you won't have the minerals to afford that. And then you start picking off at these destructible rocks. He even puts down a pylon in case there is some sneaky attack from the Zerg coming his way, and that way he will be able to make a partial wall off, which will be always helpful. And now we have, we still don't have +1 upgrade. And this is the notable thing I said earlier. Then it's 644 and still no +1 upgrade. So at this point in time, the Zerg can check for that, and he can be certain that no fast attack is going his way. But also, what Tefl does is exemplary in the terms that he fully checks the Protoss' base. And when you're playing the Sentry Immortal Expand, you kinda don't have a lot of means of denying your opponent the scout. You don't have the critical element of denying which are the stalkers. The stalkers normally take down the overlords, and you're happy. The opponent hasn't seen your army or your buildings, and etc. Now, if you're playing only Sentry Immortal, then these overlords would really have to be poorly placed for you to take them down. Sentries move like slugs, and it's difficult to take down an overlord. Of course, if there is one floating in a position where you think you can take him down, then do send a sentry or two, but other than that, don't bother. Now, the important part of this build is that on Ohana, you kinda should go for the third base because it's very easy. You have the rocks here, and just just securing this base is very easy. You can build off a wall of here, a nice and clean build on this map. And then, you know, what are the next timings? So we have the gas timing, we have the robo timing, we will have shortly the expansion timing. So as you can see, instead of doing what most players would do, which is panicking, okay, it's 7 minutes 30 seconds. I have some units, but I only have 4 units. One of them is an Immortal, which is awesome, but I don't feel very safe. And most of the players at this point would just panic and they would go, oh, I want to build 7 gates, I want to be safe. But that doesn't work that way. You need to cut corners in order to get your expansion first. And that's exactly what Kerr does. So he destroys the rocks and the expansion timing, blah 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 blah. Let's get straight to the expansion placement. Happens at boom 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 8.30. That's okay. That's awesome. So 8.30 is where you put down your expansion. Now, if you take a look at what Protoss has, he only has 3 gateways, 2 of which have only been placed recently. And these 3 gateways, plus Robo, where he constantly builds the Immortals and Sentries, is all you need to defend from most of the pushes, early game pushes. By the time that the Zerg gets maxed out on roaches or prepares a timing push for you, you should be pretty safe with just the Sentries and Immortals. You can warp in Stalkers if you need to, you can warp in Zealots. You can also go Colossi at this point because you have an abundance of gas and the Robo functioning, so that's always very cool, but you still haven't decided on your tech path. Oh my god, tech path. So, you know, right now you're just chilling with the Immortals and Sentries. Now the problem is, if he does go Muta, then you will have hard time defending, but it's still possible. And +1 upgrade only now starting, a very late upgrade, but again, you need all the gas before that and all the minerals before that to create your own economy. And only now we have more gateways, we have additional forge, a robotic bay and a Twilight Council. And I guess that's it, guys. I guess we have covered all the standard builds that happen during a PvZ. PvZ is again a matchup where the Protoss forces the hand out of the Zerg, and in this case the Zerg reacted correctly. He has taken his 4th base. But normally Zerg players, especially in lower leagues, struggle to tell, okay, what is the point in time where I can actually tell if it is an expand build or if it is only an all-in. So should I defend or should I expand again? If you have any questions, guys, please post them on the chat. If no, then we'll get straight into the Thank God It's Monday show, where you can win an awesome t-shirt signed by Jägerist TV. I'll be right back with you guys. If you're watching this on YouTube, there's a subscribe button somewhere up there. Thank you very much for following us, and I'll see you next show.